Welcome to a nourishing vinyasa flow for the Aquarian age, beginning with some gentle cat and cows, ensuring that your joints are stacked, inviting intuitive movements, following the movements with the breath, and making sure that you only move in ways that feel nourishing for you. Moving into melting heart pose or puppy pose, allowing the hips to stack over the knees as the heart begins to melt toward the mat. Just go as deep as it feels good and add intuitive movement if you wish, rounding the spine to bring yourself back to tabletop. Tuck the toes, hips rise, downward facing dog, bending and straightening into knees, pressing through fingertips spread wide. Head and neck soft, inviting the right leg to rise, three-legged dog. Draw the knee into the chest, coming into high plank, hold. Inhale, lengthening the leg, three-legged dog. Exhale, pause. Lengthening three-legged dog, open the hip if you like, and then move through to a low lunge, extended side angle, dropping the back heel, lifting up the arm, maybe gazing up at the arm. Take some arm circles if that feels good for you, grounding through the feet and legs. And then coming into a lizard pose. This is called dragon pose in yin yoga, but we're in a yang flow, so it's a lizard. You can come into the twist. If you can get down on your forearm comfortably, you can always bring a block under the forearm here. Taking a breath or two, coming back onto the hands, coming back into tabletop. For some more cat-cow, if you'd rather, you can spiral out the spine, imagining the spine is a jump rope held between two friends, maybe moving in both directions, bending into elbows, allowing the neck to roll, really feeling into the delight of this movement, feeling the fingers press, tucking the toes, pausing for a little toe squat, allowing the knees to come together. You can physically open up the toes so they squat a little wider. Yeah. Softening where you're able to, maybe adding some shoulder shrugs, some neck stretches here. It's a big stretch for the bottoms of the feet and the toes. So just stay as long as it feels good. And if you want to try a little toe stand coming off of the knees, noticing if you can really glue those inner legs together, activate the core, find softness. Focus your gaze. Nice. If you feel brave, you can bounce up and down. And then moving back to downward facing dog. We're going to try all that on the other side, lifting up that left leg, three-legged dog, bringing yourself forward. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, crunch. Inhale to lengthen. And then bringing that foot forward, coming into that extended side angle at the low lunge. Maybe looking up at that hand. Maybe bringing some circles into the arm. Feeling grounded and rooted through feet and legs. And then allowing yourself to come into lizard pose. Big hip opener here. Hands to the inside of the foot. Maybe you'll come out onto the outer edge of that foot. And maybe you bring the forearm down and twist in this shape. This is a pretty deep stretch, so just listening to your body. And here's kitty. Coming back to tabletop. Now we're going to allow the tops of the feet to stay on the mat and sit hips toward heels. If it feels comfortable to come off your hands and you want a deeper stretch for the tops of the feet and the ankles, you can gently lift one knee up. One knee at a time is great, just noticing your range of motion. If you want, you can bring your hands behind the body and lift both knees up for a deeper stretch. Breathing, finding the ease and effort in these postures. Taking the knees wide for a wide leg child's pose. If your forehead can reach the mat, you can gently massage the third eye on the earth. Really, really nice for your nervous system. Finding any intuitive movements here. Breathing. Allowing yourself to express yourself as you wish. Coming onto forearms into Sphinx pose. Stacking shoulders and elbows, elongating the spine and the neck. Maybe taking the gaze out over one shoulder and the other. Softening the hips down toward the earth, relaxing the glutes and the legs. Finding the delight here. Maybe coming into seal, extending the arms. Big back bend here. And then we'll draw ourselves onto the belly, coming into some Superman shapes. Really great exercise for strengthening the low back. Inhale to lift, grounding through the hips. Exhale to soften down toward the earth. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to draw down. Inhale to lengthen, bring the hands back. Push through that tabletop to downward facing dog, adjusting your stance, playing here in the shape. If you wish, you can lift and drop the heels, allowing your root to begin to wiggle and jiggle. You can rotate the hips, moving from downward facing dog to high plank. Just allowing for the kundalini energy to flow up and down the spine. Inviting a radiant clearing of the central channel. So think about the lymphatic system in your body as you allow for these shakes to occur in the lower chakras. Inviting space and flow. Coming back to that right leg up. Coming into that low lunge, right foot forward. Staying right here if you like, hands down, just really breathing into the hips. If you want to come into that half split shape, hips come over the back knee, lengthening through the front leg, flex the toes. And then maybe intuitively moving between the low lunge shape and the half split shape, getting creative with how you move the arms, the hands, the breath, allowing it to become a devotional practice. Feeling into how you want to move, bringing some intuitive wrist stretches, maybe some bowing, some mudra with the hands. Taking the left hand down, right arm reaches, twisting toward the knee here. Breathing. And then bringing yourself back into lizard pose. If you feel comfortable in that twist in lizard and you want to go deeper, you can practice a quad stretch. My quads were really talking to me here. Pretty deep stretch. Listen to your body. Only do what feels nourishing in your present moment. And then I felt like I wanted to prove some strength to myself, coming into Chaturanga Dandasana, upward facing, downward facing. And finding that intuitive movement once again, seeing what feels good in your downward dog. Maybe some lymphatic shaking, maybe some spirals with the hips moving from down dog to high plank. Just play with it. Allow yourself to get a little bit lost in the movements and the breath, feeling the energetics. Feeling the energetics of the body, guiding your movements and your breath. Allowing yourself to be playful and brave. Coming back to the love and kindness in the body, mind, and spirit. Left leg rises, opening the hip, three-legged dog. Coming into your low lunge, dropping the knee, untucking the toes of that long leg. And then finding the stretch. Maybe you stay with the hands down. Maybe you're using blocks under the hands. Just breathing into this big hip opening. Really nice for people who sit a lot in chairs. Coming into the half split, hips over that back knee, finding intuitive movements here. And then if you feel comfortable with the hands off of the ground, allowing for any sort of intuitive arms. Maybe shining the heart, opening and closing the jaw, grabbing opposite elbows, see what feels good. And maybe finding the balance to move through to that half split and then back to the low lunge. Finding delight and beauty in your own sacred temple, housing your beautiful spirit. Finding the devotion, finding the movements that feel devotional to you in your practice. Coming back into this twist on the other side. Finding that top shoulder peeling back, shining the heart. And then coming back into lizard, with or without that quad stretch. It gets pretty intense, so listen to your body. When do we give permission to really listen to our bodies and move in ways that feel nourishing? This is your opportunity to love yourself and give yourself what you desire, what you need, what feels good. Coming back into Chaturanga, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Finding the movements here that feel nourishing. I learned this posture in Bhuti Yoga, B-U-T-I. Tops of feet on the mat, sitting hips to heels, just taking a moment to integrate, rest, breathe, feel the aliveness in the cells of the body, feeling the bliss that is accessible when we truly give ourselves what we want. Bodies, minds, spirits, all working together as one in coherence. Coming into a very wide kneed child's pose, allowing the hips to really come open, soften, make space. We hold a lot of emotion in hips, specifically women, but all genders. And so when we find these nice hip openings where we can relax into them, then we can release stored emotions and really allow our energetics to be nourishing us in the present moment. If you want to play with some glute pumping to activate the lower chakras, activate kundalini, feels awesome. give it a shot. Be bold and brave. Release anything that creates limitations for your movements. Come back to the liberated state of unconditional love. Here we are back in Sphinx pose, drawing my legs a little bit further apart here. Moving back into some gentle neck stretches, looking out over shoulders. And then a more advanced movement in Sphinx is to bring a hand behind the head and then move open and close. This is a big stretch, so just really listen to your body. It might not feel good for you today. Trying just a few on each side. Yeah. Inhale to lift, exhale to draw down. Back to that seal pose, really extending the arms for a deeper back bend. Feeling the front of the hips press into the earth. I'm going to be practicing half frog pose with a threaded needle, and it's much easier if you have a prop. If you have a proper bolster, you can place that along your torso. If you have a pillow, you can use that. So notice my left knee is coming out from my hip, a 90-degree angle for that leg. And then my left arm is threaded under the right, allowing for a shoulder stretch and a big hip stretch to happen at the same time. You can find stillness here. You can pump the glute for a little bit of lymphatic energetics, some kundalini activation. I find that there's a lot of shame stored in the lower chakras. And so when we shake it out, we make space so that we can become liberated. And that's really my vision, my mission for all beings everywhere, to be liberated and free. And so my personal practice also echoes that. I'm going to move to the other side with that half frog pose. So I'm extending the leg that was just bent, and I'm going to take a nice bend into that opposite leg. You can see the shape better in the mirror view here. Threading the needle for the right arm underneath the left. And with the prop or the pillow under the body, it's much more comfortable to recline and relax here. But just take it slow. Listen to your body. Finding stillness or finding intuitive movement here as well. See if you can really relax the body down toward the earth, and then have those isolated glute pumps for kundalini activation and liberation. Breathing, finding delight in this exercise. So I've done half frog, and now I'm coming into full frog, which is a big hip stretch. It's only really possible for me to come into this stretch with the prop under my torso, under my hips. So full frog pose is that 90-degree angle, the knee coming straight out from the hip, and then the foot coming down from the knee. Both legs are wide. And then the practice is softening and relaxing the hips down to the earth, finding the ease in the whole body as your hips begin to open deeper. Finding stillness, or maybe if it feels okay, coming into those lower root and sacral chakra glute pumps. This is a pretty deep stretch. That's about as long as I can stay in it. Gently coming out. Maybe taking another wide knee child's pose over the prop. Moving intuitively. Just allowing to move in ways that fulfill your desires and invite true liberation. Back to love, back to wholeness, back to who you truly are, which is the pure love stream of the organic universe, the boundless organic universe. That's who we all are. And all the conditioning and programming and stored trauma, it all gets to be unwound from our beings. Take as much time in your devotional practice as you need. Come back to your devotional practice as often as you are able to unwind yourself from everything that is not love. And when you practice devotionally and bathe yourselves in unconditional love, you ripple it out into the world. Sitting hips to heels, coming into an easy seated twist here. Just unwinding, making space, wringing out the spine, maybe gazing out over the opposite shoulder. Reach the arms up, inhale. Exhale, twisting in the other direction. Feeling the spine long. Feeling the twist wringing out all that does not serve. Looking out over that opposite shoulder for a moment. Giving yourself a smile. Being kind, tending and befriending to your body, mind, and spirit. Palms to heart center, breathe, finding the balance. We're going to come into some more toe squats, taking the knees really wide with this toe squat, the feet close together, folding forward here, really nice for the hips. Breathing, bringing those knees together, coming into that toe squat. Breathing into the bottoms of the feet and the toes. Drawing those inner legs together. Really imagine they're glued together and the core is strong. Popping up off the knees to allow for the toe stand. And if you want a little bit of a challenge, you can bounce up and down on your heels. Takes a lot of core strength and focus of the gaze. Maybe you come down for a moment. Play with toe squatting. Some intuitive movements here. Just playing. Finding delight, lightheartedness in your existence, in your practices. I like doing that on the other side, so I'm trying this side. Finding some side stretches here. And feeling complete. Coming into one more top of foot ankle stretch, coming down onto the forearms. This is pretty deep for the ankles here. Listen to your body. Yeah, a little back bend in this shape, coming out of it, and then slowly folding over to a closed knee, child's pose, arms wrapped around the body. Breathing into the back of the ribs, finding bliss and ease. Thank you for practicing with me. Let me know in the comments what your favorite part of the practice is. See you soon.